Was good, y'all. Was good. Was good. It's your boy F Tank 58. I'm gonna be holding down the live stream. Let me see who's all in the chat. What up, Space? Yeah, man. We are here. The Silas era of Rockets basketball is officially over, man. It's officially over. We made it. Shout out to Steven Silas, ensuring that we landed Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, ensuring that we are in position to land at least a depending on where the coin flip goes with the Spurs pick. At least I think it goes up to 7. So at least we'll have a top 7 pick. So that's shout out to him for ensuring that for us. But yeah, bro's gone, man. Bro's gone. Uh, it is what it is. I don't want to be too happy because, like I said, y'all know how I feel about a person losing their job, right? But at the end of the day, like I think half of like what the discussions were after games were the coaching, and that's never a good thing. It's like coaching. One thing I do notice: a lot of people don't really, a lot of fan bases really hate their coaches regardless. Like I've been in different spaces with Warriors fans that hate Steve Kerr. You could think of the teams that are the most successful, and they still hate their coaches. It's just like a fan thing to hate the coaches. So I don't think that's going to stop. But man, some of the stuff we talk about is just like really, really, really basic stuff. But yeah, today, y'all have heard, watch the video. So I just want to, look at some of the comments from y'all in the audience. Y'all let me know what y'all think. We'll go through the comments and just talk about it and just see, to see where we stand on this whole situation. I'm trying to get the pulse of the fan base and just to see, where you guys are at. I know some people are mad. I've seen different tweets of people basically like tripping about it. But guys, welcome to the NBA. Me and Space try to tell y'all for well, not y'all. I know the Chop Shop listeners are the informed group, but there are people who aren't used to the business aspect of the NBA, right? They think it's just it's just all funs and games. But what people are about to realize is that it gets real, and it's going to get real for coaches, as we just saw with Steven Silas. We may lose some of these players that we love, and that's what comes when you try to pivot from rebuilding to winning. So that's really what's gonna happen. So let's look at some of these comments. Sigga Migs, what's good? What's good with you, bro? Space doesn't, yeah, no more. Hopefully, Space doesn't have any more nervous breakdowns on there. So we can we will hopefully we get a good coach so we can talk hoops, and it's not about just random stuff that'll make Space go crazy on air. So we already know Space happy. We know he happy, bro. I didn't seen that man damn near shed a tear because of some of the stuff he saw. So yeah, we know he happy about what's going on. Watch the film says shout out to Silas. We got to chat who's going to be the next head coach. I mean, y'all already know. I mean, the article that Kelly Eco on the Athletic put out kind of listed some of the names the Rockets are interested in. What's his name? Nick Nurse, Ime, a new candidate that I didn't think I've heard about rumors about him, but I wasn't sure they were interested in was James Borrego. So I don't know how I feel about him as a coach. I didn't like his tenure on Charlotte. It was kind of, I really, to me, he's not proven. So, I think right now they need somebody that's going to be able to set a firm foundation. They should have hired a experimental coach like a Abdel Fattah to start the rebuild, and if not to start it, maybe last year or after this summer, they should have let Silas go. Bringing a young coach like Abdel Fattah, so that really never made sense to me. Why they brought him on to the team if they knew they were going to pivot from Silas? Because now what's going to happen if they bring a big coach to come in, they might not want Abdel Fattah on the roster unless the Rockets are going to flex some muscle to to try to get them. But Nick Nurse, Ime, we've heard of Frank Vogel. Those are some names. I'm a Nick Nurse guy. Space is a Ime guy. To me, either one is an upgrade. Either one. What up, EF? EF Hutton says worst part is we finna mess it worse. Mess it worse now. I'm not sure what that means, bro. You got to expound on that for me. Let's see. Guest man says, don't know why people think Silas got done wrong. He finished his whole contract and not fired. He got paid in full and got to finish his contract. Rockets just want something different. That is big facts. And excuse my kids yelling in the background, but that is, usually what happens. And honestly, he was probably a year overdue for his job, and that's really just how it goes. That's how it goes in the NBA. You really don't see coaches getting that third year like that for tanking teams. Usually they get about 2 years and then they're out. Hold on, let me fix something, guys. Give me a second. All right, I'm back. You already know what I had to handle them damn kids, but yeah. So he didn't get done wrong. He didn't get done wrong. Space already know what's up with the kids thing. You got these kids and you're trying to run a lot, but I think they treated him fairly overall. He had his chance. I think, like I said, a year overdue, in my opinion. In my opinion, it was a year overdue. Tim Dunn says losing his job, he was stealing. Nah, bro, not stealing. Tim, you think you would have done a better job? You would have they had one of us in there, we would have done a better job. I guess I can't, I don't know, like I guess I want to you would have to like talk to the players. I'm sure they're all gonna say like really friendly stuff about him, but it's just really, really, I mean, I don't know. I think if you would put a different coach there, you might have had better results. I think a lot of different coaches would have given you better results than he did. Johnny Johnson says Casey moved into Pistons front office. Yeah, that boy. At first, I thought he got fired. Then we found out he got promoted. So good for him. Good for him. You usually don't see that. Sigamig says, time to hate on you, Doke. Yeah, whoever comes, bro, I'll give them like a. Remember when we were all excited about Steven Silas coming in? Remember when he came, everybody was excited because we hated Mike D'Antoni and, coming off of the bubble and just all the stuff that he was doing and not making adjustments. Saw this young coach come in and everybody was just happy. And I don't know how long. Do y'all remember how long it took for it to become like, damn, what's up with this dude? I think for me, it was like, okay, we had the Harden situation. I think the fan base was still on board with him. Then after the Harden situation, it went over to the wow factor thing. People were excited, like, yeah, bro, we got a coach. He's calling timeouts. He's doing all this stuff. Then I think it was like when the losing streak started. And then even that, like a lot of people were like, well, they don't have any players. I gave him that. I was like, I'll give him a pass. They were playing Justin Patton, bro, and Kyrie Thomas and all these random players from like G League and free agents. And then all of us, to me, what really broke me on him, I was like, this dude is not a good coach. The Tice when Tice came on the team, the double big lineup. The double big lineup was like that was the red flag. I was like, damn, this dude is really not that good at his job. And to me, that's really when it was a double big lineup. It was a double big lineup, bro. That double, yeah, and Jalen in the corner. Yep, Siga Mix, Jalen in the corner. The Tice thing, the Shango. It was like, damn. Like by the end of the second year, I was like, man, he is not him, bro. So, yeah, but I know we was all excited. That's how it always starts. You're happy about your coach, but I think every fan base hates their coach. I think they all just hate their coach. Shark Shock says, I was so happy for him to get fired. Damn, on Resurrections Day. Sunday. Now it's time for the Rockets to resurrect from the grave. Look at you connecting your hatred with biblical scriptures and holidays, man. That's high level hating, bro. Respect. Shout out to Shark Shock for connecting two events to show off his hate for Steven Silas. Love it. Guest man says he didn't lose his job. He finished his job and didn't get a new contract. Facts. They just basically didn't exercise that's last year on this option. So that was their right to do so. They basically just let him walk off. Shout out Mario was good, brother. Was good with you, bro. EF Hutton, watch we get like Jeff Hornet. Nah, bro, don't put that on us. Don't put that on us. Jamon says, I'm really down on Stone because firing Silas means the rebuild isn't going to plan. Stone didn't make any improvements from last year's roster and thought they were a significant improvement. Well, I'm not going to say the rebuild isn't going to plan because usually the first coach in a rebuild doesn't make it past 2 years. If y'all remember, there's a coach on. I mean, there's a video on the Chop Shop channel that I made called "How Will This End." I want y'all to go watch that if you have time after this. And I go through like the basically the layout for how the blueprint for rebuilds, and using just historical data from other franchises that have gone through rebuilds. I think what I figured out was the average time frame for a coach, the first coach on a rebuild, is 2 years. The average time frame for a GM on a rebuild is 2.4 years, and that makes sense, right? If y'all do the math, so usually a coach comes in the first 2 years and they get fired, and the reason the GM gets a couple months after that is because the second coach comes in. If the team is really bad and the second coach struggles, they're going to fire the GM shortly after. So that's why I said Stone was on the clock, because now that Silas is gone and he brings in a second coach, basically we're looking at him now, right? We're going to be looking at him and what can he do as a general manager? Because okay, yeah, the coach sucked, blah blah blah. Then you bring in a different coach and the team is still bad. Then yeah, you can't put together a good team, and you're not hiring good people. So they're going to bring in a different point of view. So yeah, bro, Stones is on TikTok right now. Mario says the season is over. Yes, it is. D4L, I feel like we had a genuine reason to complain though. Yeah, nah, I ain't there is no, I mean, it wasn't just the fan base though. Y'all saw this on I mean, damn, how many NBA players? We've had literally people come out of their way to talk about what the Rockets are doing. Players, former players, recent players, national podcasts just comment like, what is going on in Houston? That is not normal, guys. Like, it's not normal. You don't hear anybody else talking about what is OKC doing or what is Orlando or even the Spurs doing. All those teams suck. Not OKC, but the Spurs suck like us, but they actually have structure. It was never about winning and losing. Like most people that know basketball, the complaints that they had was, what are we watching? We're watching AAU ball, right? So it was never about like the Rockets are losing games. Like if you watch them, you just like, there's definitely something wrong with this team. They had no hierarchy. Nobody could like say that, okay, this is what we're gonna do. It was just like random guys going off. Jalen drops 40, we might get a dub. Our backcourt goes for 60 together, we might get a dub. But we never had a bread and butter. It was just like on some Herculean efforts for the players for them to be able to like will us to victory through talent. But I mean, we have a lot of talent. It's just it's just they never really, to me, were maximizing the way that they needed to be. Larry Etienne says he wasn't given the personnel to succeed too young. That is facts. I think if you mean succession or being successful by winning games, I don't think that he should have been fired if it was just like he had a losing season, even though we were losing a lot. Honestly, I don't think that's really what he was fired for. If you read the article, they never pointed out about wins and losses. They really talked about a lot of structure, accountability, hierarchy, but the article also blames Stone. So to me, that's a GM coach thing, and that's why I think that Stone is on the clock. And what's going to be interesting when we get a new coach is that is if it's a big enough name, will Rafael Stone have enough composure to let that coach do his job? I think that's going to be a big question, because that's not normal. It's one thing for your GM to consult, like to say like, hey, hey, here's what I have a vision for our team for us to run, and I want us to do X, Y, and Z. This is the big picture of what we want to do, and let's try to do X, Y, and Z. But to literally stop practice while the coach is out there is hella disrespectful. That is so undermining. It's like, I don't know. It's like if you had a job and you doing it in front of your customers, and your supervisor comes in and say, "Stop, stop it! You're not doing it right. Move out the way." This how you do it. Like that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing, and you're demeaning your employee, and that's kind of that's bad, bro. Like that's bad. Like to me, that's very alarming to see, and that's the type of environment that they're kind of creating there for even for Steven Silas. As much as people could hate on him, I don't see how anybody could really be successful in that type of setting when you're being micromanaged and there's somebody over your shoulder every time you want to do something. There's rumors that Stone was doing the lineups. Like, bro, that's too much, bro. Then to me, my question to Steven Silas is, bro, you got a legacy, my dude. Like, at some point, you have to set the ultimatum. Like, I'm gonna do this. If y'all are gonna fire me anyways, shoot, go out the way you want to go out. You know what I mean? Go out with at least with your dignity and go out so at least people know that nah, this is not representative of me. So that's where I kind of lose him on that. That's where I lose him. Like, bro, if you got to have some sort of backbone about yourself, and like, no, nah, I'm not gonna play Daisha Nix 32 minutes tonight. No, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. You know, I'm not gonna do this and that. So, but he went along with it. So, you know, that's on him. Let me go back there. We got Johnny Johnson says he is risen, so shall we. Yes, sir, my brother. Happy resurrection to all my fellow Christians out there that celebrate the resurrection day. Shout out to y'all. Yes, man says, why are people saying he got fired? The man finished his contract. I think I already read that. Yasin Ozdemir. Okay, I think I got that right. Let's not count that out yet. The draft lottery in a month might make us lose it. I don't know what you're talking about, but Shark Shock, the Fairweather Rockets fans on Twitter all alike. All like Silas deserved better. I can't stand those simping for Silas. Worst coach ever. Damn. I mean, literally, he is. But we're not gonna go there. But it's funny. Like the people that are big like Silas supporters are now pivoting to Stone. Where y'all been, man? Where y'all been? We've been, you know, one thing about like me, Space, and like you know, the Chop Shop crew, we keep it 100% real, bro. We're not stands. We try not to have agendas. I'm sure we all have our individual biases, but at the end of the day, like we love the Rockets, bro. And at the end of the day, Stone, Silas, Shangoon, KBJ, Jalen, they gonna come and go, bro. At the end of the day, the Rockets are still gonna be there. Hell, Tillman may sell the team. The Rockets are still gonna be there. And that's the team we're supporting. So all these characters that are here right now, you know what I mean? It doesn't they're temporary. So it's always weird for me when fans, especially once in the city, get attached to characters over what's best for the team. And that's to me, that's like not how you do it. If you focus on what's best for the Rockets, you're going to be on both sides of the fences on different takes. But I'm finding out that a lot of people are very biased right now. This past 3 years has made a lot of the fan base very biased, and it's really affected their ability to look at things clearly. And they say a lot of wild stuff that's crazy, and you can just watch them pivot from one thing to another. Stay consistent, man. We've been talked about the Stone thing. Even though we're talking about this right now, me and Space did pods on this like damn near 4 months ago. 4 months ago, the same exact scenario when it was just rumors. You know what I mean? So all of this stuff is like I said, for our listeners, we've talked about this for months. This is old news stuff, but you know, some people you just gotta, you know, they gotta be shocked into reality. And it's about to get real, man. It's about to get real. This offseason is gonna get real because of all the changes. If they're gonna try to win games, it's gonna come with a lot of different changes to players and personnel. Kenny S says, you know the coaches we going for, we going for the playoffs. I don't know about the playoffs, bro. I'd be happy to play in. If they make it to a play in, I'll be good. Shout out to Savage. Yes, sir. We called it, bro. Archon March says, I had not watched all the vid, Frank, but key takeaways for me so far. Stone's interference, lack of leadership due to Stone's interference. Facts. No to Scott Brooks. Yeah, that's Scott Brooks is white Steven Silas. Let's not do that. That's not a great coach. Not a great coach. I don't want Scott Brooks here. I don't see why if they're going to do that, they might as well just move up Abdel Fattah. I'd rather do that. Give him a shot. No to Scott Brooks. Shout out Space. Kenny Sigamed said, would take a miracle to sniff the play-ins? Yeah, bro. That's my top end. If we make it to play-ins next year, Stone should be general manager of the year. General man, whoever's our coach is, if we make the play-in next year, it'll be It'll be they damn near should be coach of the year, bro. As bad as we've been. So yeah, that's big. That's big. Um, Jumanji's, what's good, brother? Let's see. He said he was 43 and 39 last year in Charlotte. They're talking about Borrejo. He's not a choice of mine, but he wasn't useless in Charlotte. Yeah, I think he got dismissed for some Ime Udoka category stuff. So the Rockets got two thoughts on their list of coaches. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we land somebody that's not controversial. But yeah, let's. I'm a Nick Nurse guy, but yeah, I really don't. James Borrego was okay, but I just don't see it, bro. I really don't see it. I really just don't see that as the type of coach that we want on this rebuild. Savage says Rockets Chop Shop. Nick Nurse was my first choice. Same as me. Same as me, brother. Um, Artron says, "Man, are you Haas's burner account? I don't know who Haas is. Let's see. Guess man. For the people who say he got fired, don't know anything about work or contracts. They also don't know sports. His contract was extended. That's it. It was executed, or I don't know what that word is, but yeah, he basically his contract. They just let it expire. Basically, they let him just. They didn't renew it, and they didn't extend him. They could have extended him one more year. It's like a player's contract where you have a 3+1, where the fourth year is a team option, and they just some teams they're not going to exercise the option. So essentially, Coach Silas is a free agent. Yeah, he's a free agent. He's a free agent, and I bet y'all he's going to get a job. I'm sure he's going to get a job, man. He's going to get a job. Um, he has a lot of connections around the NBA. Yasin says, with our first set of rookies, Jalen and Shangun, heading into their very important year three, I think knowing a new head coach is coming will motivate them harder. Bro, let's talk about this roster. We know for a fact that Steven Silas is not coming back. So who does that impact the most? Like, who would y'all think? I think obviously the backcourt, right? So that's KPJ and Jalen. Their lives are about to be flipped over. Their lives are about to be flipped over because whoever is going to come in, they're going to have a different system. Even if they have a lot of like pick and rolls and isolations like Steven Silas does, the system that most coaches run requires a lot of off ball movement. Steven Silas, his idea of spacing is a little different than like Mike D'Antoni's was, in a sense that he likes to overload a lot of like the same side, like one side of the to create like empty corners and stuff like that. Whereas some coaches, when they run the pick and roll, they like to fill the corners. And I think me and Dave on the pod that we dropped yesterday or 2 days ago, talked about how the Rockets had the lowest number of corner 3-pointers generated since 2008, which is crazy, right? This is something that Daryl Morey preached as the holy grail of 3-pointers, is generating corner threes. And in the Steven Silas era, we actually went below a period. Y'all know what NBA offenses looked like in 2008? It was nasty stuff, bro. It was nasty stuff back then. So for us to be below that at like 5.6 or whatever the percentage was, that is nasty stuff. So whoever this coach is, even if they run like a lot the same play types that Steven Silas does, it's probably going to look a lot different. And it's going to require a lot more from the players, whether it's the off ball movement, and from the ball handlers, whether it's to make those reads, get the ball to the corner, make the right reads. I just don't see a new coach coming in and being okay with like some of the stuff they were doing, especially if they're trying to win. So that Kevin Porter question is going to be interesting. I just wonder. I think that's the biggest thing right now. We assume Jalen is going to start because I think he's flashed. I think KPJ could start. The only problem with the KPJ situation is that him and Jalen are redundant because technically KPJ and Jalen play the same position. Aside from the being named point guard, they do the same things, right? They do pretty much the same things. Um, but Kevin Porter is better off ball as a spacer, as a shooter. He's a better isolation player than Jalen. Jalen's better coming off of screens and running pick and rolls. But essentially, they do the same thing on the offensive side, and they kind of have similar weaknesses on defense. But it's going to be tough, especially if they get a good point guard. Now, if there's a coach that believes in them And the funny thing, bro, honestly, the funny thing with all this is that the only way to really make Jalen and Kevin Porter work in the starting lineup is through Şengün. And if you want to see a picture of it, go watch the Kings. And what that means is that when you run a lot of dribble handoffs with a big man out of the post or the high post, mid post, and the elbow, it really doesn't matter who's the point guard. You just have guys that could cut, that could attack the basket, that could shoot. And I think Jalen and Kevin Porter have that skill set. So honestly, leaning into like a Şengün oriented handoffs and stuff like that is probably one of the only ways they keep like the current core as is. Because if you bring in like a Scoot, Harden, one of those backcourt players got to go. Then if you bring in a wing in the free agency, obviously I think KJ will be the easiest one to slide down to the bench if he's not traded. And then you bring in a backup, a center, a starter, then you get into the LP thing. It's going to be interesting. Let me just say that. Interesting. And I think that all of it is going to be determined, honestly, by the draft. I'm not sure if the Rockets are going to want to get a coach first or wait for the draft, or are they going to wait for the draft so they can have leverage? Like if you draft Wemby, does that make the Nick Nurse thing automatic? Like does, or the Ime? Does that mean that some of these big name coaches want to come down quickly? So it's a lot of questions. It's a lot of questions about that, about what's going on. Baba Shola Odunike says, when we name the coach, I think we should not change the roster too much and run them for one season to see the players we can move forward with, because we lost the player assessment with Silas as a coach. I agree in a sense, but brother, um, yeah, they're on the clock, man. With the OKC pick situation, I know it's like almost meaningless at this point. I still think it means something, and they've set a marker for this. I don't think Tillman wants to keep losing money as a franchise. Now, the value of the Rockets is going to go up because the NBA is going to go up collectively. The league's value. So basically, think of the Rockets as a investment, right? Like there are owners that have bought teams for like 2 billion and sold it for like 10, because just inflation plus just the value. Like like the Warriors, for example, their value, Lord knows how many times it's probably quadrupled since they won a championship. The point is, winning improves the value of your franchise. Okay, so Tillman bought a contender, right? Tillman bought a contender, and now we are at the bottom of that totem pole. So if he ever wants to cash out on the Rockets down the line, he has to get it back to glory. So the team's value go up. So it's not good to be like, this is one of the first years that the Rockets were part of the teams that received out of the shared revenue. Even though slight, it was very slight, but that's not what big market teams do, right? Big market teams, if you go look at the list of teams that received from the shared revenue, it's all the baby teams, the small teams, the Indianas of the world, right? The Wizards of the world. These like small market teams. The Rockets are usually above. We're the ones that we make excess profits, and we share it with the collective sharing with the NBA with other teams, just like the Lakers and some of the other teams. To see that in this past year, we received 900,000 from the NBA. Yeah, I mean, that's not us, man. We got to get back to glory. So I don't think Tillman's going to allow that to happen, like where we keep waiting on the kids. Now, I do agree. There needs to be like a halfway in between. Like, I don't want them to turn over the whole franchise where it's just two players left and it's a bunch of random vets on here. They still can thread the needle, but Silas and Stone wasted a lot of times this past few years. They really did. Space says, I had to cook because my wife didn't want to. That threw me behind, and now my kids hyped up off of Easter candy. Yeah, Space is in daddy mode right now, bro. I had to tell my wife, like, I'll give you some money if you keep these kids quiet. These are the sacrifices we make on the chop shop, man. We gotta tell the damn kids to keep it down. We trying to talk hoops. Let's see. We got Brown Xmas. If Silas produced better results, he would have been fired or wouldn't. I guess they would have fired him anyways, but to me, I would have went out on my own. Like, if you gonna fight, if I know I'm gonna lose my job, let me go out. I'm gonna go out. Like, I'm gonna go out like Lovey, bro. Hey, hey, that's just how it is, bro. I got to keep my name clean. I'm gonna go out on my. You're not about to just punk me, then fire me at the end of the day. Chapman says I wasn't excited. I wanted Atkinson when his name was mentioned. Yeah, I know they interviewed Atkinson during the first search, so maybe that gives him some props on the second go round. Who knows? Al Comedy says people said Silas resembled Obama, and we're excited. What? I don't remember that. I kind of did. I liked the Tice signing. Then we found out the hard way. The Tice. Y'all don't drag me into the Allen debate. I'm not gonna go there, bro. I'm not. I argued it all last night. I'm not talking about Allen and Tice and the mistake to bring Tice to not keep Allen, but brought Tice in to kind of make up for the fact that Christian Wood was a cone on defense, and you bring him in to protect Christian Wood when you could have had a guy for that's gonna project it and was by all metrics in Brooklyn was already shown to be there's gonna be an impact player and trending towards all stardom. And you could have still tanked with him because guess what? Cleveland had him and they got the pick right behind ours and Evan Mobley. So for the people that say, well, if we had got Jared Allen, we would have not tanked. Well, that means you just suck at being a franchise. If you can't have good players on your roster and tank, you're bad. Just look around the NBA. You can tank perfectly with good players. You just have to be good at what you're doing. You just have to know what buttons to push, what games to win, how to load manage your players. To me, that was just a fumble. But Tice led to, the Tice signing, the 50 game losing streak, the double big lineup. Then that led to the Schroeder trade that was low key botched because the Rockets said they ran out of time, which is on some like when you're in college and you submit your homework or it's due at midnight on Blackboard and you can't get it. Like, what are we doing here, bro? We're a franchise. They ran out of time on the trade, and then we had to get an expiring contract and Enos Freedom, or whatever his name is, which both turned out to be nothing. So you go from Tice to expiring Schroeder and Bruno Fernando. I think that's what came out of that. So, nah, that was nasty. Nasty times. Nasty times. Brian Exman said the plan is don't get the point guard, don't get a true rim protecting center, lose many games. Yeah, I mean, that still doesn't to me doesn't cover some of the structural issues and accountability. Mario said valid point to be made. He was given a bad hand. Well, he didn't have to improve his bad hand for he did nothing to improve his bad hand. More than enough. Big facts. Big facts. Basically, any coach that has ever been hired, if they had a sub 500 record in 3 seasons, I would have been feel bad for Silas. Yeah, that's facts. I'm gonna scroll down if I missed y'all. Sorry about that. Curtis O say Stone has a plan laid out. Y'all just don't understand him. He's never made a single mistake. Okay, I don't know if you're being sarcastic, bro, but we gonna see, man. Stone better turn into Game 6 LeBron, Game 6 Jordan, because this summer is going to be important for his tenure. It's going to be important for his tenure as a general manager, and probably for his tenure going forward. Because I just don't see another team hiring him in that role if he doesn't do a good job here. Al Comedy says, I just think Tillman wanted Silas to stay for the pray for Wemby tank. Stone was frustrated, got himself into practice trying to coach the team himself. Nah, that's cap, bro. I don't think so. I agree with the Tillman part. Yeah, I think Tillman is most likely one to be like, I'm going to keep this guy because he's going to be like the bulletproof armor for all this slander we're going to get. And I think Stone was on that board too. Silas was the bulletproof armor for them to divert all of the rightful slander they were supposed to catch. I've been slandering Stone. I'm not confident in Rafael Stone, but he can prove me wrong this summer. But I haven't seen anything to say that the dude's a good general manager. I haven't seen anything. If your basis for judging somebody is they're expected to lose and they lose, then that tells me nothing. And some people give him credit for that. Well, at least they're like, bro, no, that doesn't tell you anything. Like if you know what I mean, if my outcome to evaluate me is a negative outcome, even though it's planned, then I can't evaluate. You can't evaluate me. You can't tell me whether I'm good or bad. You just know whatever I can do. I suck at it. Is it do I suck on purpose or do I suck because I suck? That's where Stone is at with me. Like we don't know whether he's just terrible or he's like this calculated genius. Now he's put himself into a corner where they have a lot of stuff they have to do, and if he hits this summer out of the ballpark and fields a competitive roster, that doesn't stop there. That actually achieves the goals that they've set to be a play-in or playoff team or win like a decent amount of games. Then yeah, good GM. I'm gonna pat him on the back and say he did a great job. blah, 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 blah. But at this point, we haven't seen any of that to really say anything about that. Your boy Brown Xman said Oladipo can't drive left to save his life. That man couldn't hoop. Literally, we kept the worst player in the NBA in that trade. That was crazy, man. The Harden trade is on pack watch, guys. I know some people still like, I can't judge the trade right now, just like I can't judge Stone. But so far, all we have to show for the James Harden trade is Tari Eason and J Gup, and the two swaps and two picks we got from Brooklyn. And that pick could get real funny if Brooklyn rolls out a contender next year after the free agency and trades. And J Gup, he might not even be on his team next year, right? And Tari, I think Tari gonna be nice, but the dude's a rookie, so they need to, you know what I mean? They need to do something. They need to do something. That trade is on pack watch. And some people talking about if Harden comes back, then the trade is worth. No, that's not the trade. That's separate. Those are separate situations. Harden coming back is not a trade. That's just him coming back. Because we could have had maybe a different alternative timeline with him still coming back. Maybe we could have had Jared Allen with Harden coming back. Then you're coming back to a better team. Or maybe we have an extra 3 or 4 more first round picks because we flipped Jared Allen and the guy everybody hated that Pacers got 2 or 3 picks for. What's his name? Karis LeVert. So, it's on pack watch. Just know that. We won't know for a couple of years, but the chop shop is not forgotten. Baba Shola says no top notch coach will collect the Rockets job if they won't have some form of independence running the team. I agree, and I think in the interview process, that's something they have to talk about. Like if I'm interviewing for the Rockets coaching job, that's I'm gonna ask. Like, are you gonna let me do my damn job? Like, can we clarify with this? I think that needs to be any coach. I would go. You know how they ask you at the end of a job interview, do you have any questions for me? That's my first question. Like, bro, will I have full autonomy to do my job? Because I can't see any real coach dealing with that crap. I mean, I know Stone probably knows hoops, but damn it, like, how you gonna tell an NBA coach what to do? If you don't like what he's doing with your team, then you need to fire him. But undermining him is just bad. Like it's bad. It's a bad visual for your players. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the rest of the staff that's there watching it. Like then you taking away his voice. You know what I mean? You taking away his voice. So for him, he just needs to chill, bro. Let your coach. You need to give your coaches the tools they need to be successful and fall back. Y'all can talk about big picture stuff, directional stuff. Here's the goals we have. Here's what we want. Here's like where our philosophy. Where does it? Y'all play 2K. Y'all see all them dumb questions they be asking them coaches on 2K. Do all that, but as far as like interrupting practices to like, bro, that's not your job, man. If you want to be a coach, go coach. If you want to be a coach, go coach. That was that's weird, man. That he did that. That is a weird behavior. EF Hutton says, I've been had my own Stone. I don't believe in him. If he gets a coach that a face of our team, I'll change my mind. Facts. Me too. Me too. Me too. That's my stance on that. Big R, what's good, brother? I'm hoping we get some talented vets so we can see what Jalen Jabari and Shangoon can become. And them vets may be at the expense of Jalen Jabari or Shangoon, but I do hope they keep the core together because I think we have talent, bro. And low key, man, Shangoon really ended off the year on a high note, man. This dude was just tearing it up, and and he was doing it without having to be like the focal point. You know what I mean? I think they found a sweet spot for him, and I still think they could do a million more things for the team to make the everything look better. It was just they just wasted a lot of time, man. Wasted a lot of time. Let's see. Let me try to catch up with the comments. While I'm doing that, you already know, hit the like button. If you have not hit the like button, support the Chop Shop. You can hit us up on Cash App at the Chop Shop HTX. Hit us up on Cash App for support, or you can donate if you want to. If you're not a member, make sure you join the membership. Allow us to keep making this premium basketball content. We're going to keep coming with the content throughout the summer, the playoffs. We got the draft. We got trade season, coaching hire. Is going to be exciting summer for Rockets basketball. So y'all sticking with us. Big R 1984. Silas got fired. LMAO. When you don't extend their contract, they are no longer with the team. Okay, Big R's a lawyer, so um, I guess is that the technical term, Big R? He did get fired and not let go. Are we being like PC? Is this an argument? Is the thing? You know what I really love about the not not in a weird way. I like when the graphics for the coaches get released by like Bleacher Report and ESPN, where they'll put like they always come up with a new word like departed or something. They'll put instead of fired, dismissed. I love the graphics. And they'll have like a picture of them looking mad, the words in red letters. Yeah, yeah. I didn't see one for Silas. They just put breaking news on there. I guess they didn't think it was that important. If anybody does see those graphics, let me know. I like to collect them. They're really funny to me. Jumanji says, "Dang, didn't know Borrejo was a player like that." Also, yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. It was something. Yeah, he was on that E-May trip, bro. Bro, out there. Yeah, getting his groove on at the workplace or something along those lines. Something along those lines. Jamon Stone is probably going to make sure the next coach is brought into KBJ and Green. That's probably true. I can see that. I can see that. I can see that, but I can also see a world where he actually cares about his job as well. Because banking on Jalen Green and Kevin Porter to keep my job, don't know if I'll be sleeping good doing that, bro. I'm probably bringing a coach that with some vets, and maybe that I could roll with that. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Space says Harden down here working out, getting ready for the playoffs. I think he should be with his team. Yeah, James Harden's a weird character. We'll see if he comes, man. If he comes, then that does change a lot of stuff. What the team is going to do, I think that triggers a cascade of events that may or may not be like what people expect. I think people think like Harden's going to come down and play with all these young guys. He'll be mentoring them and patting them on the head and giving them hugs and coaching them and doing team huddles on the court. I don't think so. I think if Harden comes, it's going to be they're going to overhaul like at least the back end of the roster. I think a lot of the guys are going to get moved. A lot of the guys are going to get moved, which to some people that's okay, but yeah, I think a lot of the guys are going to get moved because you don't pay James Harden what he's going to get, which is a 4-year max. You don't pay him that to come here and be a mentor on a bad team. You're going to try to maximize him while he still can hoop. The dude is what, 33, 34 years old. He's going to be like 37, 38. If you give him a 4-year contract, by the end of that contract, you're going to want to squeeze every penny out of that. So you're going to maximize that roster. Harden coming is a game changer as far as like expectations. If he comes, it just means they're trying to make the playoffs. They're going to make moves like that. And I just don't see a world where it's like, oh yeah, KBJ and Jalen backcourt with James Harden. That's barbecue chicken. That is barbecue chicken. Um, Red Cloak says, does Rockets need a new Jeff Van Gundy? He was tough even on T-Mac while his predecessor, Tomjanovich, let Steve Francis and Coutinho Mobley play as they like. Yeah, I think they needed a Jeff Van Gundy 2 years ago. Usually you want to bring in that coach that is a culture setter to start. Once you've established some level of like work ethic, structure, accountability, then you can kind of get fancy with your coaching, a guy that's more high level on the second go round. But we're hustling backwards with the Rockets. And I mean, that's where we are, bro. We hustling backwards, man. So now I think we have to take a step back, get a guy that's a culture setter, and try to roll with that because I think that's the only way you can really try to move forward. Okay, we got a super chat from your boy Kenny S. Let me post that up. Whoops, wrong one. Kenny S said, "I expect us to hire a coach by the finals or end of." Wait, the finals is I think the finals is after the lottery, right? So I think the finals goes into June. The lottery is in May. Yeah, I think so as well. I think you don't want to wait too long because by then, um, what I mean. By then, it kind of gets like maybe the field dries up a little bit because remember, coaches can interview after the season's over, so you don't want to be the last one picking up the leftovers from everybody. In fact, the Rockets should be making their calls and setting up their interviews as we speak. And you might not want to wait too long. To me, they're coaches that I would hire them any time of the day, whether we get Wemby or Amen Thompson. Nick Nurse, Ime are those two types of coaches. I'm trying to think of another one. Um, Kenny Atkinson. Yeah, Kenny. I do Kenny like that. But the other guys, the Vogels of the world, I think they'll probably be there. So And I'm not mad at Frank Vogel. If y'all remember, he was a guy that was instrumental in kind of building up that young scrappy Indiana team that used to try to go toe to toe with LeBron, but they would lose every time. But that was his team, man. He had a bunch of young Paul George, Stevenson. Who else they had? I'm forgetting bro name. They had the big man. I'm blanking on his name. But anyways, yeah, they had a pretty decent team back then. George Hill. Um, oh man, I'm forgetting his name. It was a dude that he was play power forward. I think that was pretty good. If you guys remember his name, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Let me catch up a little bit. Hibbert. Hibbert was his name. Yep, yep, yep. Roy Hibbert. Danny Granger. Yup, 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 yup. So he's put together teams of scrappy young guys before that. So a lot of people give him a lot of like, oh, he's a bad coach. I don't give a damn what level it is. You don't win a championship being a bad coach, bro. Like that's not how it works. Like the level of attention to detail you need to win a championship. I don't care if it's in the bubble. I don't care if the other team was hurt. Like some people try to take away points from Nick Nurse. To win a ring, you need to be like sharp on top of your game to go through those 4 rounds, playing high level basketball, making the adjustments. Y'all seen what he did to the Rockets? That defense he did on the Rockets after game one. Remember in the bubble? Game one, we was yeah, we got the yeah, or was it game two? I forgot what it was. One of the games after we won. After that, they shut us down defensively. So a lot of people slander Frank Vogel. He's not the most offensively gifted coach, but as a what we need right now is defensive identity and culture. And I think that's really the foundational piece of building a contender. You got to start off with a good defense, and then let the offensive talents on your team kind of shine from there. But that defense is really where it's at, and that's really more of a culture setter thing than anything. Let's see. Bumper says Al P, Jabari, Tari, Taitai, and Jalen are keepers. Damn, that's half the team, bro, ain't it? I would trade the rest and acquire vets from teams whose window has closed. Harden has aged out. Al P, Jabari, Tari. Okay, I don't see KPJ. Who else is missing? I don't see Garuba. I don't see KPJ and Garuba. I think are the other KJ or Tate. Okay. Okay, you just out on Tate and KJ too. Okay, I ain't mad at that, but I don't think okay, you're saying keepers for you, but none of the like that's too many guys to say they're untouchable. Hold on, my daughter's asking me. Yeah, she's tripping. But yeah, so y'all give me a second. Let me get my wife to get the baby down. She's ready to go to sleep. All right, sorry about sorry about that. Kids, Easter, they did eat a lot of candy. But yeah, so back to the show. Third Good says, I know I'm late, but I like how the coaches that we Rockets are reportedly trying to hire is basically every coach we've been naming and have a complete opposite way of how they carry themselves. That's facts. I wonder if the Rockets just flow with the social media vibes, bro. It's kind of weird. Me and Space were talking about this a few days ago how like all the stuff the fan base says is what they do. Like it's just weird. Or are we just a really smart fan base? I don't know. Keep an eye on that. Let's start a false rumor and see if they pick it up. Then we can see what they do. We can see what they do. Let's start a false rumor about the Rockets pick it up and see if they follow through with it. Savage says Rockets chop shop. What is your expectation of Nick Nurse as a head coach? Man, playoffs, bro. Well, it depends on who we get. If we get Nick Nurse and let's say we get James Harden or or a good veteran, a couple of good veterans. Let's say you get a even like a Fred Van Vliet. You sign a Nas Reed or a Brooke Lopez. You bring in a couple guys off the bench, some vets off the bench. You get Jalen in his in summer development. You get a maybe Kevin Porter doesn't get traded. He's still here. He develops over the summer. Alp, no Euro League this year. He works out all summer, comes back, best shape of his life. He develops. All these guys, they're going to get better, especially Jalen's class. Year 3 is a big jump year for a lot of these guys. And all of that happens, and you get a coach that's actually attention to detail, defensively oriented. We have the talent. I don't see why we shouldn't be OKC, what OKC was this season. And the reason I say OKC is because essentially they have a good coach. They have a bunch of young talent, guys that are developing, the Lou Dorts of the world, and guys that have been there. And they have the James Harden or that big name player in Shea. The only difference is their big name player is a guy they developed rather than a guy that they traded for or signed in free agency. Not this season. Obviously, Shea came after his rookie season on the Clippers, but you can see what OKC can do with that formula, and they haven't even added Che yet. But what I'm saying is that's where I expect us to be next year, in the mix for a playing spot, because I just don't see us. Because you got to think, who are the contenders in the NBA right now? As is, you got to beat out Golden State, which I don't think we're going to be ready for as soon as next season. You got to beat out. You got to beat out the Lakers. Maybe they crash. I don't know. They look pretty good right now. You got to beat out the Clippers. You know what I mean? They still have Paul George if he comes back healthy, and Kawhi. That's still a tough duo to beat out. The Suns, which look like they're going to be stacked for the next few years. More experience with Kevin Durant. That's already 4 teams. Memphis with Ja and them boys. That's 5 teams. You still got the Kings look like they're going to be around for a couple of years. That's 6 teams. So for us to crack that playoffs, where it's just outright playoffs, I just don't see it. I don't think we're going to make a big enough jump to be an outright contender where we're a 5th seed. But I do think that we can take over a spot by like where the Timberwolves are. Let's overtake them, or kick the Pelicans out. Maybe Zion never gets healthy and we take their spot. Or who are the other teams in the play-in tournament? Maybe OKC and us are kind of vying for it. So I think that's why the play-in is more realistic as a high end than just outright playoffs. I just don't see the playoffs as a real thing. I don't think we're there yet unless we get like a crazy roster turnover, use our cap space, trade away some of our young talent, and basically bring in a ready to compete team with a good coach. Otherwise, I think that the play-in should be where we really should try to go. The Midnight A says, you think the league will let Ime work for them again? I'm not sure if I want somebody crazy enough to cheat on. I was about to say, the man ain't killed nobody. Yeah, that's a wild boy, man. That's a wild boy. That's a wild boy. Ime a wild boy for that. I don't know. Yeah, bro. Yeah. Maybe he's been going through counseling. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into his business. That's like he ain't killed nobody. I'll say that. So he should work. I mean, damn it, if people got fired and lost their livelihoods for cheating, it'd be a lot of jobless people out here. So, yeah, I think the email thing is a bit it's I don't know like all the details of it, but it's nothing criminal. So, it seems like he just was being inappropriate in the workplace consensually, but still inappropriate in his position. Hopefully, none of the if he gets hired, he's not doing that to anybody on the Rockets. If he did that, bro got a problem, man. Brown Xmas says, if we get Wemby, Harden will come. Pause. But I don't want to overpay for him. One of Şengün or Jabari will come off the bench, depending on the wing veteran we get. Probably not going to have Garuba or Jay Chris. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a world where Jabari comes off the bench as well. You know what I mean? There's a world where that happens, but it just depends on him, how good he looks next year. I think he has a big season coming up. Mukang Lauro says, honestly, I don't want to see Harden coming back. Me neither, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I think keep going forward. We don't need to like jumpstart anything. I think that if you can get a point guard and some defensive players and the natural development of our players with a better coaching staff, I think that alone you'll see a lot of good results from that. You'll see a lot of good results from that, man. Yeah, you'll see. I think that will move the needle. I think that's a 10 game swing off rip. And depending on the jumps the players have individually, I think that's really going to determine how big the jump is. If Jalen comes in like just kind of how KPJ did, I think like this year, because KPJ, he's not a point guard, but as a basketball player, the dude took some big leaps this year in his game. Like his game, that's why I'm interested in keeping KPJ. Um, if he's willing to play whatever role the Rockets have for him, I think he's a talented player, and I think that I want to see what he looks like under structure, this new mature version. Because in Cleveland, he was under some structure, but he was immature. Now he's growing up, right? Y'all know how it is. When you in your early 20s, you think the world is yours. You can do whatever you want. When you are, getting close to 23, 24, 25, that brain starts formulating real good. And, I want to see a mature KPJ under a setting where he is held accountable and pushed to his limit to see what type of player this guy really, really is. That's what I want to see. We got a super chat from your boy Kenny. Yes, let me go down. Appreciate you, Kenny. Appreciate you, brother. Kenny says, can most of our guys be considered vets after this season? As you just said, some guys hitting third, fourth, fifth, one piece away free agency draft from playoff. Well, yes, I think Kevin Porter is going to be in his fifth year. So he's damn sure a vet. Jalen, third year. Jalen and his class are going to be third year guys. But our guys are just, man, they're just really. This is what I mean by they haven't been in no wars yet, bro. The dude hasn't been in no wars yet. They haven't been in wars. And to me, in the NBA, you're not a vet till you've been in wars, bro. I mean, yeah, literally they're vet. I think the NBA defines veterans as after your third season. So I think Kevin Porter is a vet technically by I think the CBA standard. But as far as experience, they have no veteran experience on the court because they've been kind of just all the players like Austin Rivers, John Wall, all of them said they playing AAU basketball and they haven't played enough meaningful games to really benefit from being veterans. You feel me? So I would give them. They need one season where there's high expectations. They're being coached hard. Guys are being held accountable. Being benched for bad play. They need one season of doing that for them to really kind of see what the NBA. They don't know what the NBA is like. Like John Wall said, man, a lot of the stuff they get away with here, they wouldn't get away with the other teams. I want everybody to go listen to that John Wall interview. I know he was salty, but it kind of hit after this Kelly Eco article, don't it? Bro was in line. A lot of y'all was clowning John Wall. He was hating. Y'all was clowning him, saying he was hating, but there, like I said, when it happened, there's no reason for any ex-player or any player to speak up on anything because it doesn't benefit them. He wasn't trying to come back to Houston. So when players talk, this is a lesson of when players talk, y'all listen. Don't listen to these fluff pieces being dropped by random news sources because the organization controls a lot of the narrative that comes out. It's, what I mean? They do PR control. They have PR managers and supervisors and the directors, and they'll talk to the reporters and give them access if they do X, Y, and Z, and try to create a narrative and push back and do all this. When a player talks, I treat it like a whistleblower, right? Y'all know what a whistleblower situation, right? When employees at something's going wrong within a company or something, and you have an employee that comes out and speaks on it at the even though it may cause harm to them. And the whistleblower thing is like the government protects that right for employees to speak up when they see something's going wrong. And basically, as the law, you're supposed to look at it like protect this person and investigate what they say. I treated the John Wall thing as a whistleblower situation. I treated Eric Gordon said there's no improvement like a whistleblower situation. When I hear players talk about random stuff about the Rockets, guess what? They're talking to other players. They're talking to players on the Rockets. So y'all just, all of this to me is a lesson for the fan base. Y'all just got to be a little, not the chop shop listener. I'm just talking into the ether, but a lot, it's a lot of naive people out there, man. Y'all just got to understand, like, the NBA is different, but it's the same game. And these stories been around. Like the symptoms of a bad franchise is the symptoms of a bad franchise, and it doesn't change. And if you've seen enough of it, you'll know. Okay, I think I already read that. Let me wrap this up a little bit. Let me go up here. Hit my boy. Yusagami says Brown Garuba gonna be here and they definitely not gonna Knicks stay here. You still sleep, bro? I can't really understand what you're writing. You gotta fix that. I don't know. Garuba might be here. You know what's good for a guy like Garuba is that with the new CBA they gave a extra two-way spot, so I can see a world where Garuba is kept on a two-way and sent down to the G League because honestly I think that's where he belongs. Y'all remember Clint Capella was in the G League for like 3 years before he came up. It ain't nothing wrong with being in the G League for a couple years when you're raw and you just have to like develop your talent. So yeah, that's the farm system. A lot of our guys would be in the G League for that, and I think that new CBA stuff is really great for that. You know what I mean? I think the new CBA stuff is great for that. So, okay, you good, brother. You fast and empty, yeah, bro. Go ahead and maybe drink some water, bro. Let me see. Brown Xmas, the Bubble Rockets team was all small. Small ball was garbage. That was when I knew we were about to blow. Yeah, that was like the last gasp of that team. When they traded Clint Capella for Robert Covington, yeah, that was like, you knew that was like a Hail Mary. I kind of see like, damn, Mike really out. David Pham was good. Dave says Harden only using us for leverage. Or Harden, I'm guessing, for leverage. So Philly will sign him to a supermax. I believe that. I can see that as well. You know what I mean? Let's see. Brown X-Men's take and go. There isn't really a place for him. He's not a forward, unlike what some of the people think. He can shoot threes. So damn, or he can't shoot threes. Where is he going to play? Fourth stream shooting guard? I mean, I don't know where Tate belongs, but yeah, I ain't gonna lie. You know, we really don't talk about Tate too much. I think people just kind of overlook him. Maybe on a good team, he has a role. I'm sure he does. You know, as a second, like a forward, a third, second team forward, or a guy that comes in for special situations that you can throw on certain body types. His contract is good. I think he's good as a salary at worst. So you know, that's I'm not. Tate is just there. He's there. His contract is tradable. He's not a bad player. So you know, we'll see. Zodiac GM says Zodiac GM be having some. I don't know if y'all ever see Zodiac GM's comments on the videos with the astral and all the astrology and all that with the players and all that. It's interesting. I'll say that. Interesting. Frank Vogel would be a perfect coach if we draft Wemba or Miller. Nick Nurse would be a perfect coach if we draft Henderson or the Thompson. And I'm sure it's because of their chakras align or something like that. So Zodiac, let us know why they'll be perfect. Is it because their zodiac signs align? I'm sure that's has some with that. That's what he be on. Brandon Pimpson, what's good, B? It will be after the Suns and Clippers collapse before it really start to shine. Yeah, I think Tillman had said something along those lines of like, or somebody had pointed out, like, yeah, one year the Rockets were on top, then now we're on the bottom. The teams are on top now. Yeah, it changes. The guard is going to change. I think who's got next is still up in the air. I think OKC is going to be in the mix of that next tier of contenders for the next like maybe in like 3 or 4 years. I think Orlando is going to be in that mix of the next tier of contenders. I think Boston is going to be a contender for the next maybe 8 years. Tatum is a baby. The dude's only 24. If they re-sign Brown, Brown is a baby. He's 25, about to turn 26. Y'all got to remember, players play into their mid-30s now. So if they can keep those guys on contract, they're going to be there. Giannis is still relatively young. I don't see Giannis's game like aging out bad. He's going to be there for the next 5 or 6 years. So the Bucks are still going to be there. Memphis is coming. They're young. You know what I mean? They're going to be there for the next couple of years. Their team hasn't even low-key. Memphis is OKC on basically just on a gravy train. They peaked early and they're just here. They're not supposed to be this good this early. They still haven't cast in their chips yet, just like OKC hasn't either. Memphis still has a lot of good draft picks, a lot of players they could aggregate to make a big splash. They're winning off of just drafted talent. That's the best spot to be in. That's the model. That's the model. That's the model. Because you know why? You know why those teams are in a good position? Their raw talent of their guys they drafted is what's getting them to the second round of the playoffs. I'm talking about Memphis and OKC in the playing right now, right? Because when you're ready to really go all in, when you got a guy that's all NBA already on your team and you're already a second round team in the playoffs, when you add a James Harden, a Kevin Durant, blah, blah, you're going for a championship. At our level, the reason I don't think we're even ready for like a James Harden, honestly, We're not there yet, bro. It'll just be weird and to me kind of wasteful. It's almost a sign of the failure of drafting and developing our players correctly. And one thing I'm gonna get on my soapbox real quick. Let's stop comparing ourselves to the Charlotte Hornets and Orlando Magics of the world, right? We want to win a championship. Our standards should be Oklahoma City, Golden State, Memphis. The reason they're good is because they do everything pretty much elite. They draft elite, they develop elite, coach their guys hard. You know what I mean? The Josh situation notwithstanding, even with that on the court, Josh a professional. So that is the standard that we have to get to. When people call the team out and say like, "Hey, like y'all aren't doing good," like da da da, and you say, "Well, Orlando's been," we don't want to be the Magic. The Magic have been drafting in the first round for the past decade. Stop comparing us to the Magic. And what I mean by that, obviously they're better than us right now, but I'm saying that's not the standard. Let's stop the whataboutism of this bad team, that bad team. If you've seen what the good teams are doing to be good, that's what it takes to be good. It's not easy to be a good team in the NBA. It's really, really hard. It's really hard. That's why people get fired and all this stuff happens. So when you see the franchise isn't on track with some of those really, really good teams, then you should be concerned and hope they do better. That's the standard we have to hold ourselves to. But I mean, you got a lot of teams. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to come up. Obviously, OKC, like I said, they're going to be there for a while. I think the Pelicans, if they can get the Zion situation fixed, they're going to be there for a while. I mean, there's I'm probably blanking on some teams right now, but I think the Pacers. I love what they got brewing over there. I think they already got a couple players that they can hang their hats on. So it's a competitive league, and the new age of like competitive teams is coming. It's just right now, I think the Warriors are going to phase out in a couple of years. Lakers, LeBron, he's going to retire. I think they're going to phase out. I think the Clippers are going to blow it up in like a year or two. All these top teams. I think Sacramento, they're fairly young, so they're going to be here for a little while. I think the Blazers are going to be bad for some time. So yeah, it's a lot of good teams, man. The NBA is in an interesting spot right now where there's a lot of talent and nothing is guaranteed. The dynamic in the league right now isn't like before where okay, it's our turn. It's a lot of people's turn. So if you're not really elite, man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, man. The league is not fair, man. The league is not fair. Like it's not fair right now. Like if you're going to be a bad franchise and not do it right, you're just going to suck, and you're going to get punished for it. So I'm hoping that we get everything that we do it right. I'm hoping we do it right because yeah, and hey, I think we're on par with the Pistons right now. Let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna go for a couple more minutes. Yusugami says KPJ's age is mine. This year got me thinking how to stay out of trouble most of the time. Yeah, I feel that. He's a baby. When I was 22, bro, I was wild, bro. I was out in them Houston streets thugging, bro. But yeah, 22, man. Them kids, they mind ain't even formed yet. They ain't thinking, bro. They ain't thinking about life like in a big, we some of us that are older can sit down and be like, why is he doing that? Why is he saying that? Man, these are kids, bro. They're kids with a lot of like influence and power, and they don't really. Some of them have guidance from their parents, family members, friends, and some don't. They just out there just like with a bunch of yes men around them. When you become a breadwinner for an entire generation of people, because you're the first in your family to get money like that, it's really easy for them to like get kind of cocky and full of themselves. That's why it's good to me having vets on a roster, people that can tell them like, bro, slow down, bro. Like you doing too much, or don't do this, do that. Yeah. So King0098 says, I think the biggest problem for the Rockets if Rockets didn't draft the best fit for the team, but individual performance. The best example is OKC. They didn't draft out P because he didn't fit into the team. That's true. That's true. But I think the problem with OKC, they already had SGA at that point. So it's easier to kind of fit. I think the Rockets were looking for their SGA. And once you have a foundational piece, which honestly, as much as I love Jalen, I don't know if he is it yet. I think this next year is going to be very important. But once you have that cornerstone for your franchise, then you can start drafting for fit. But in the meantime, it's really hard to draft for fit when there's nothing to fit to, right? You need like a centerpiece to kind of be that puzzle, a piece that you form everything around. If you don't have that, there is no fit. Like, what are we going to build a team around Steven Silas's offense? So I get what we're doing with the high upside swings. And honestly, I think like Jalen, That was, they could have drafted Mobley. They chose Jalen because I would have chose Jalen. Yeah, I think that's what you go. You get the perimeter player to start off with. It sells better. Mobley is a piece you add to a certain type of team. I just don't think you want to start your franchise off with a center. That's kind of a project like he is. He's going to be talented. And Mobley, I love Mobley, but I think Jalen was the right choice. I think Jabari fell to us. I think we wanted Paolo because he fit the same model of let's take a swing for a guy that's going to be a franchise cornerstone. I don't think Jabari is a franchise cornerstone, but I think Jabari is going to be a franchise piece. I think he's going to be a very important player for our team going forward, um, especially when we're winning. Yusugami said John Wall is the reason I started taking basketball seriously. I'm upset how he goes. So yeah, John Wall, man. People don't remember John Wall. There was a thing on Twitter that said, who's a better player, Gilbert Arenas or John Wall? And honestly, I ain't gonna lie. I love Gilbert. I love Hibachi, and I love Agent Zero. I love Gil, but John Wall was a better player. Like just as a player, Gilbert Arenas to me is like he's like Bradley Bill. He's a two guard, and this is what I don't want Jalen to be. Is I don't want Jalen to be a Gilbert Arenas, which is a guy that can score. But scoring is like the. It's gonna sound weird when I say this, but I'm gonna have to explain this on another video. Scoring, if scoring is your only talent, that's the least impactful talent a basketball player could have. If that's your only talent, as far as when it lends to winning, scoring is the least most impactful talent a basketball player could have as it relates to winning. If that's all you can do is just drop buckets, that's why a lot of the bucket getters are six men, right? Because that really, I mean, you can get a bucket, but I mean, so can a team of basketball players. Can you defend? Can you facilitate? Can you rebound? Can you impact the team? Can you dish it out? Can you set the team? Can you organize? Can you clamp? You know what I mean? And I think that's where I want Jalen to really rise up to the case. I don't want him to just be a bucket, bro. I love his scoring ability. I think it's special. Can he defend at a high level? Can he be a two-way player? Can Jalen learn to be a facilitator? That's what's going to separate him from like the uh the class of like the Zach Levines of the world, the Bradley Bills, great players, to the other level of players where he's doing it all, the SGAs, you know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of similarities there too. So that's where I want to see him get up at is that level. Let's see. Party time, Animal Time says, I wonder if the last Silas interview we will see. Stone coaching defense is like the worst look in the organization. I don't want Scotty as a head coach. Yeah, I heard about Scotty and what's the guy from the Pacers? They were talking about him too. I mean, the Pacers, the Blazers. Um, what's his name? But anyways, yeah, top choices: Kenny Nurse, Ime, and Sam. Sam Cassell, interesting. I wouldn't be too mad at it, but we'll see. David Pham says Nick Nurse was coaching the Vipers and was looking like our next head coach before he went to Toronto and won a chip. For what it's worth, yeah, Nick Nurse was around with the when Pat Bevan was on the Vipers. Yeah, Nick Nurse is around. All right, I'm gonna do like two more. Let's see. Brown Xman says, so what are the good teams doing to be good? Playing defense, clogging the paint, hitting threes, scoring efficiently. I mean, defense is obviously a prerequisite to be a good team. Most of the playoff teams are going to be top 10, top 15. Most of the contenders are going to be top 10 in defense. Um, I think for a young team to be good, it really does start on the defensive end, and it just starts with setting a culture and competing on a night to night basis, and not just like in stretches, right? Like you watch Oklahoma City, the standard of all the rebuilding teams right now. Every night, win or lose, them boys out there hustling, bro. OKC doesn't have a center. If y'all know that, right? They don't have a center. They don't have a center. They don't have a center, bro. They do not have a center. That's why LP be eating their lunch. But they play so hard across every man on that team plays so hard that they make up for it. They don't have a center. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. And let's see. Let me see the last one. Let's see. Let me go with Kenny. Kenny says, if a guy's putting up 50 a night, I might take a chance with that. Well, 50, that's kind of extreme, bro. That's kind of extreme. That's kind of extreme, bro. But if you putting up 50 a night, that you could still be on a bad team. Y'all remember James was averaging 50. The stretch he averaged 50 in the 2020 season, I think. No, 2018-19 season when Chris Paul was hurt. I think it was from December to January. The stretch where he had to drag the team and keep us afloat while CP3 was down. He was averaging about like 43 points a game for like a month. I think we had like a 500 record. Yeah, Terry Stotts, Brown Express. So what? And let me add to that. He was averaging over like 6 assists and 6 rebounds. So he wasn't just scoring, right? So that's my point. Like you can average 50 and still win every game by 1 point or lose or get blown out. And we've seen it with James Harden, where he'd be having 63 points and it got to come down to like a last minute shot. So that's not the scoring is such it's the lowest. If that's your like your main, if your superstar is just a scorer, you're probably not going to be a good team. He got to be a scorer and a playmaker, or a scorer and a defensive player that can go two ways. That's and ideally you want the playmaking thing. For two guards like Jalen, small forwards, power forwards, if they're going to be your best players, they got to be two-way clamps, right? If you're going to have a two guard as your best player, he has to be a clamp. He has to be a damn near like a good defender, not just like, oh, he's normal. He has to be a good defender, like a guy you can throw on. He shuts people down, gets steals, deflections, and he'll drop 40 on your head. Then you put good other defenders around them, good role players, then we're talking about something. But if your best player, all they can do is get a bucket, they're a defensive liability, and they can't play make, you're the Wizards. You're the Washington Wizards. You're going to be paying a guy 250 million just to be there, score 40, average 32 a season, and you barely seen if you can make the playoffs. So ideally, I love what I've seen from Jalen on defense. So I hope that as his body fills in, that's going to grow. Like that's going to continue to grow. I already know Jabari is going to be a two-way player. Jabari is one of the best rebounders in his class. Tari Eason has a lot of upside. I'm curious to see how he's going to be molded by a coach. His mom tweeted something today saying that she's going to go off if they don't find a coach that doesn't push him the right way. And I'm with that. Tari Eason is a talented player. I think he's probably one of the best rookies in his class. The dude needs to be crafted and molded, right? He's kind of like a Tasmanian devil. He just goes out there and causes chaos, but sometimes it's too much and it's like you got to reel it back. I need a coach that can mold him because I see a lot of talent in that kid. That dude, he has a lot of potential. Towards the end of the season, Tari started doing some self creation, which was exciting to see. We already know he can play defense, one of the best defenders in his class. So, what I mean? We know Şengün. Can we have a coach that has an imagination that can use him to his full powers? Şengün averaged the last like 6 or 7 games. He was averaging like damn near like what 15, like 10 and 5, bro. You know what I mean? And I think he had something where he's like the one of the youngest players to have 70 steals and 70 blocks. Can we get a coach that could mold these guys into what they want to, what I mean, what we see them? Can we get a coach that can look at all of them collectively and say, I can make you guys work together? Not some, okay, yeah, I need a lob threat because my offense dictates it. I need a coach that's going to come in and say, I see what you do. I see what you do. I see what you do, Tari, Bari, Şengün. I know what you're good at. Jalen, okay, I see where you like the ball. Let's come together. We're going to put together an offense that makes everybody a star. That's what they need, bro. That's what they need. Like, that's what they need. We've drafted too many talented players to pick one thing. Oh, we're going to focus on the front, on the backcourt. That was dumb. Then you don't draft an Alperen Şengün. You don't draft a Jabari if you're going to build a two-guard monster that's going to be out there winning 25 games a year. We got wings. We got guards. We got a big man. What we talking about, man? What we talking about? We got wings, guards, and big man. You bring a point guard in, some depth, some veterans that may start in front of some of these young guys and let them marinate. There was a time ago where young players came into the NBA and didn't start for years. So they got their chance. That is perfectly fine. You know what I mean? That is perfectly fine. Some of the best players in the league, Hall of Famers, when they came into the league, they were at the bottom of the totem pole. But you got to earn your stripes. I don't believe in just giving players positions of authority when they haven't earned it. That's why I was down for benching Jabari when he was playing bad, right? That's why I was down for having Tari start over him at certain. I don't give a damn about his feelings. Welcome to the NBA, bro. Do better. So that's where we got to get to, man. All this like fluff stuff. Oh yeah, he's him. We got blown out by 30 points, but he had 20. Like, bro, no, let's stop that. All that stuff is done. This is a new age of Rockets basketball. Stone calls a phase two. Me and Space are going to get into a lot of stuff this summer. I seen somebody ask about the playoffs. Yeah, I think we can do a couple of games in the playoffs as far as like post game stuff. Yeah, we'll keep it rocking if y'all down with that. Um, if y'all want to do it, we definitely can do that. We have a lot of stuff to cover. I got to start watching a bunch of draft videos now, which I hate. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like looking at like all this like OTE stuff and G League. It's just bad basketball. I'm not gonna lie, but I got to start doing that for the chop shop so we can talk about some of these players and see who fits best. You know what I mean? I got to do some in-depth breakdown of some of these coaching candidates, what their systems are. So yeah, it's coming, bro. So next year, man, I'm excited, man. I appreciate all of you guys, throughout the entire season, for rocking with us and showing up for this. And I think that hopefully we've been beneficial to y'all because it's really hard making content for a team that's like the worst team in the league for 3 years in a row. So imagine, I think Yusugami just said that. Imagine like what it's like when we actually like, damn, we in the play-in, we in the playoffs. What is that going to look like? How many hundreds of people are going to be in these post-game lives? What are the breakdown videos? Y'all notice I haven't done a breakdown in months. Ain't nothing to break down, bro. What am I going to break down? Yep, he turns the ball over and I'm going to slow it down. Let me slow it down in slow motion. Here's how he turns the ball over. He passes it to the wrong person. What is there to break down when the basketball has been bad, right? So, exciting times, man. I think it's going to be good. But appreciate y'all for rocking with us for this post game live. Shout out to Steven Silas getting us Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, and putting us in a position to draft Wemby or Scoot. Shout out to him, man. Hopefully he gets another job as an assistant. Maybe we'll see him down the road as a head coach in the future. Just didn't fit right now. Not the fit. Didn't make sense. Didn't work. And you know what? Hey, it is what it is. The business of the NBA. We're moving on, turning the page. Let's talk some real basketball now. I think we can start doing that. So this summer is going to determine a lot in our franchise. This might be one of the biggest summers since they drafted Akeem, bro. So y'all get strapped in for that. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. Don't be a hater. Don't be a hater. Just sitting here enjoying our content and just not saying you like it because you obviously like it because you're sitting in here. If you haven't watched the video that came out today, watch it. I also did a stream with Dave Hardesty at Clutch Fans that dropped a few days ago. Space will and I will be back for the playoffs. And yeah, man, y'all enjoy your Easter, your Resurrection Day. Happy Resurrection to everybody out there that celebrates it. Appreciate y'all. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit us on Cash App at the Chop Shop ACX.